604 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane off and running. Brian here with you. JP producing, starting you off at 75 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. We're also starting you off under a dense fog advisory. More on that in just a little bit. We got quite the roller coaster of a show here. Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics, going to join us later this hour. We're going to talk also this hour with the folks from the Louisiana Arts and Science Museum because their big gala is coming up this weekend. Right now, though, we start you off with top stories and trending.
Number 5.
A coalition of black lawmakers went to court Monday hoping to convince a judge that Louisiana's attorney general was obligated to defend a congressional district map that led to the state electing 2 Democrats to the U.S. House last year. The judge refused. That would be the map that put Cleo Fields in office.
Number 4.
The American Civil Liberties Union claimed yesterday in a lawsuit against President Donald Trump's administration that a detainee is being held at the Louisiana State Penitentiary in Angola, even though his deportation order is more than 6 months old, which the ACLU says is unconstitutional.
Number 3.
Louisiana Legislative Black Caucus yesterday requested an investigation into the state police after a lawyer for former LSU football player Kyron Lacey disputed trooper statements that led to Lacey's arrest on a negligent homicide charge back in January. Attorney General Liz Murrell's office put out a statement saying she's been in touch with the Louisiana State Police about independently reviewing all the witness statements and evidence in this case.
Number 2.
1 deputy was killed, another was seriously injured in a shooting at the Iberville Parish Courthouse Monday night. Local officials said that 2 deputies were shot by a suspect at the courthouse before 8 p.m. Sources said one of the deputies died after being rushed to the hospital. Their identity is being withheld as law enforcement makes notification to family members. District Attorney Tony Clayton said the other injured deputy is Brett Stassi Jr., the son of Iberville Parish Sheriff Brett Stassi.
Number 1.
We are starting off with dense fog this morning. Here's what we've got going on. Visibility this morning will be low due to dense fog. Make sure you stay alert while driving, although it's currently very humid. A cool front will drastically lower humidity by the end of the week. Observed visibility will be less than a quarter of a mile this morning, especially around like water areas around water, like the Mississippi River, the Amite River, and the like. That's why the dense fog advisory has been issued for most of the area. What you got, JP?
All right. Well, Bloomberg has North Louisiana on its list of potential hotspots for more data centers.
Let's go.
So that's good
We
stuff.
can do that.
Yeah.
We can do, well, although I will say this, though. There probably needs to be some. Okay, the Public Service Commission is going to get very, very important in the near future.
Right.
Those who regulate energy are going to be very, very important in the very near future because these data centers require not only a lot of energy but a lot of cooling as well.
Oh, for sure.
And this is, like you look at what it's going to take to power this Meta data center that they're building out by Holly Ridge. That they're building east of Monroe. Nobody knows where Holly Ridge is. They don't have a mayor. They just take turns. But as you see more and more of these popping up, the energy component of this is going to be the big component of it.
Oh,
and PSC is going to be like, pardon the pun, but like the hottest office out there.
Ooh. Yeah, it's something like, I don't know. Most people, I'm sure they consider that as well. But it's one thing like to celebrate like the data centers, like you said. But yeah, it's all those things come into consideration for sure. And speaking of Louisiana, is Louisiana still loving Donald Trump? Well, as of this month, the president has an approval rating of 56% in the state.
Okay, I'll take it. I mean, raw numbers, I'll take it.
Yeah.
State by state, I know there's a lot that are dropping off right now, which is the normal pattern of events for a second-term president leading into midterm elections.
Yeah.
That is traditional.
Right.
There is a traditional drop-off there. As Americans, we get fatigue on everybody, even if the presidency is split into, 4 years in between the 2 terms.
That's right.
But Louisiana hanging on at 56.
Yeah, good stuff there. A newly discovered asteroid just whizzed past Earth, Brian, marking the second closest asteroid flyby on record, astronomers say.
266 miles away.
Wow.
Missed us by 200. You think about how close that is, dude.
That is really close. I didn't know the numbers on it, but yeah. Oh, I see it. Yeah, 266. Wow. Yeah. Man. That is
It missed by 266 miles. Let's see here.
wow.
You know what? It missed by from here to Houston. Think about that.
Yeah.
The asteroid missed Earth by from here to Houston. If those numbers are right, if that article is accurate,
Yeah.
then it missed by a 4-hour drive.
Yeah, even looking at it on the chart here and seeing just, man, I mean, how often do we really think? Do we really put things into consideration that we're floating in space? Like, I'm surprised we don't
Comedian
get
Pete Holmes has a great bit about
really.
this. Yeah.
When you really consider, like,
Yeah.
I'm surprised we don't get hit more
you-
often.
Yeah. You think we're on Earth, zoom out.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
You think we're in Baton Rouge, zoom out.
Really put things
You
into
think
perspective.
we're in America, zoom out.
Yeah.
You think you're on Earth, zoom out.
Oof.
We're on a floating marble, man.
Yeah. Yeah, this is really cool.
With a
and also
whole bunch of
scary.
stuff just whizzing by.
Yeah.
Now, is this thing gonna like zip around the sun and come back by us?
Ooh.
Are we getting that whip around effect from this?
Let's hope not. Let's hope not. But if that is that what they're projecting, maybe?
I don't know.
Yeah. From what I'm reading, it doesn't say, but yeah. But who's to say another one,
Yeah.
wouldn't be close.
Well, or the same one on the back
Yeah.
end, All right.
Round two.
Let me give you the rundown for the whole morning this morning. We're actually gonna kind of shift on the fly for 7:15. I gotta work something out here because we had a last second cancellation. And we kind of have to regroup and figure out what to do there. Dr. Cade Brumley going to join us at 7:35. We get to catch up with our education superintendent every other month because once school's in, he gets a little bit busy. Dr. Brumley at 7:35. We got a stack of topics to cover with him. In the 8 o'clock hour, Janet Simmons from Breck is slated for 8:15. And then we've got Congressman Troy Carter, DC Current, presented by LABI. That's coming your way at 8:35. And a whole lot more all in between. Right now we're at 612 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. We're going to talk Brian Kelly in just a little bit. Coach Kelly met with the media yesterday as we get ready for South Carolina. That's coming up after the break. Before the break, want to remind you that lawsuit abuse costs everyone in Louisiana. And, of course, we are all tired of paying the price. Last year alone, lawsuit abuse led to nearly 40,000 jobs and $3 million in personal income lost for hard-working Louisianans. Meanwhile, trial lawyers spend tens of millions of dollars on advertising, reinforcing our culture of jackpot justice and baseless lawsuits, targeting our job-creating oil and gas industry, and putting jobs and investment at risk. It is time for a change. This is Lawsuit Abuse Awareness Week. And for more on that, visit LouisianaLawsuitabuse.com. LouisianaLawsuitabuse.com to get engaged. Quick break. We'll come back. We'll talk sports next. Can you write out what the cuts are? Yeah. And I'm going to text Liz and see if I can't get her on.
Good morning, Facebook crew. How's everyone doing this morning?
We're going to go 2, then 15, then 23, and I don't think we're going to get past that. Yeah. .616 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. I got to let it kick in. Go. I know we got a lot to get to, but it's just too good. Oh yeah. Oh, you get that extended mix. It's 616 to Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. I'm over here waiting on the Gap Band, and JP's pulling out the LP. And that doesn't mean Livingston Parish.
No.
All right. We got sports coming your way in just a second. JP, you ever heard the phrase Johnny on the spot?
Yes.
We need to change it to Rodney on the spot.
All right.
Shout out to Rodney Mallett from DOTD letting me know the overnight concrete work has left the left lane eastbound at City Park Lakes closed. Concrete didn't cure as expected. I'm guessing this has something to do with yesterday's weather. You know, when DOT always kind of tries to project how long a project will take, that you got to factor in the weather. So 2 lanes are open. 1 lane is closed right now. This may affect a little bit of your drive. Although if you're eastbound on 10 by the lakes, you're moving away from downtown. So hopefully it doesn't jam things up too much. But shout out to Rodney Mallett at DOTD for that in-the-moment update. All right, it is sports time at Talk 107.3 FM. Brian Kelly met with the media yesterday, as he does every week leading up to a Tigers football game. South Carolina coming to town this weekend. We all know their quarterback, Lenora Sellers, is their biggest weapon. Kelly talks about how, well, you got to contain him.
Lenora Sellers, who's an outstanding athlete, incredible arm, has the ability to change a game. We saw what he did against us last year. Certainly somebody that we have to make sure does not wreck the game for us.
And that's the way it was last year. If y'all remember, LSU could have very easily lost that South Carolina game last year. Lenora Sellers was wrecking the game. Wrecking shop, boys. And then got hurt at halftime, and that's when LSU was able to mount the comeback in the second half. So you've got to guard against his athleticism.
Last year, Sellers, when he was in, hurt us running the football.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, we have to have a plan in place to stop the quarterback run. And then you got to keep him in the pocket. He operates best when he's outside the pocket. So, discipline in our pass rush lanes, having a solid scheme up front to take away the quarterback run. And then, let him be who he is, right? I mean, he's a quarterback with great talent. He makes plays outside the pocket down the field. We've got to avoid the big chunk plays that are not scripted.
Meanwhile, on LSU's side, you've got to get a run game going. How much of that is based off of commitment?
Yeah, it's circumstantial to a lot in terms of the runs, right? You want to be able to set up what you're doing as a play caller. And look, I think Joe does a really good job. He obviously is under the microscope. I get it. He gets it. We're looking for balance in our offense. And sometimes the circumstances are such that, a run call doesn't make sense here. But we clearly understand the need for balance. We clearly understand the need to complement our defense, and you can't do it just by throwing it.
6:55 will be your kickoff time for LSU and South Carolina on Saturday. which means that I believe 1:30 is when Eagle 98.1's game day will begin. Your network programming will begin at 4:45, walking you up to kickoff. Here comes the Fox Business Report on Talk 107.3. I'm an idiot. There's no legally served tomorrow. No, I'm on the road tomorrow.
Where you gonna be tomorrow?
Lobby's Workers' Comp Conference.
Well, shoot. Is this next? Is that interview you did yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay. Just checking.
After traffic. What? And good morning, Christy. All right, let's head back to the traffic center there, where we've been alerted this morning from DOTD that the overnight concrete work has left the eastbound lane at City Park Lakes closed. Concrete didn't cure as it was expected to. We got that deluge yesterday afternoon. It was so spotty in certain parts of Baton Rouge. It was like you turn it on a faucet over Independence Park, but if you went to Broadmoor, it was dry. It was crazy. But a lot of overnight moisture in the air as well. So. There are 2 lanes open. 1 lane is closed right now. Now, that being said, there is causing some delays. Here's what we've got going on. You've got backups. I know we normally start on 12 westbound for this traffic report. Well, we're going to start on 10 eastbound. Backups start before Highway 1 in Port Allen. It is stop and go coming across the Horace Wilkinson Bridge, the I-10 bridge, and those delays do continue on up to the lakes. Now, once you get past the lakes, it clears right up, right? You've also got delays on I-110 southbound from really just Government Street to the 10-110 merge. But there are, notable delays as a result of this. While we're on the west side, let me go ahead and tell you those delays spill over on the Highway 1 as well. Highway 1, if you're northbound looking to hop on I-10 eastbound, it is going to be a little bit slower right there due to those same delays. Now let's flip it around. Check out I-12 westbound coming in from Denham Springs. You are going to find a lot of congestion around Range Avenue, and it is slow going from about midway between Jubin and Range up to Range. It picks back up after Range, and then you'll see a little bit of you'll have some friends out there on the interstate with you as you get closer to Sherwood. 10 westbound coming in from Ascension Parish looks good, and there are no surface street exits to report. That's really good traffic from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. Coming up Friday night at the Louisiana Arts and Science Museum, it's time to roll back the clock roughly 100 years for a little putting on the Ritz. A great event coming up. We've got Kay Godan and Becca Bartlett in with us. How y'all doing this morning?
Doing great. Thank you for having us. Good morning.
I appreciate y'all coming on board, and we're going to post a picture of this afterwards because this is a radio audience, but y'all are all flappered out over here. This is fantastic.
Yes. Thank you.
We're in our element, and we just came from the news, so, we didn't just come on the radio to wear a flapper outfit. We did put two and two together on that one.
I appreciate the effort, to be sure. So, putting on the Ritz, y'all are already in costume for what's coming up Friday night. Tell us all about it.
Yes, so this Friday at 10:10, you do not want to miss it. This event is going to be a 10 out of 10. Okay. We are celebrating a major milestone. The depot, the train depot that the LASM museum is housed in is celebrating its centennial.
Wow.
So we're celebrating 100 years of the depot.
Okay.
And the 1920s theme.
Mm-hmm.
It's our 40th gala for the museum, but
Wow.
100 years of the train station.
Okay, so on the one hand, LASM's been around for 40 years already?
More than that. I mean, that's the gala that has
Okay.
been for 40 years.
Okay, man, that seems super duper quick. And for those who have been to the gala before, it's a huge event. It's a wonderful event. And it funds what y'all do what is done over at LASM. Talk to us a little bit about who the museum serves.
So the museum serves every age, from 2 to 100. There's something for everybody there. We have children's programs. In fact, my little boy, we watched him come out of his shell for the first time at a program at LASM. It was Miss Trudy's Traveling Trunk Show, and he was about 4 years old. He was so shy, and we watched him become a star on that stage. And then it was absolutely fantastic. And so Becca, she actually has a really cool involvement in the museum with seniors. Becca, if you want to tell us about that.
So I started out just going to LASM as a little one, as most Louisianians do. And then I was given the opportunity to be a part of the healthy aging programs. We had a grant that we worked with seniors who would come in. So as an example, the Council on Aging, and we would do health education, an art project. I would do some healthy movement. I'm a physical therapist.
Okay.
And then we would go watch a show in the planetarium, and it got the seniors out and engaged. And it's just one more thing that the museum does. A lot of people think of the museum as only for kids, but it's for everyone, as Cade just said.
Oh, no, not just for kids. Well, so I kind of nerd out on the science end with my son, to be sure. But, I mean, there's different, turnaround of artwork that's in there
Yes.
regularly. Yes, the Children's Museum is always a draw, but, I mean, that's a big old building. Y'all make
It
the most
is.
of it.
Yes, and that is something that's so fabulous about the party is because we have so much square footage to work with.
Mhm.
So one of the special things this year is a casino.
Uh-oh.
And so everybody goes home a winner, whether it's a little airplane bottle of bathtub gin or a bottle of Blanton's. We've got a prize for everybody depending on your gambling skills. We're going to have roulette, poker.
We have blackjack. We have Rochambeau for those who do not gamble
Okay.
or know how to play the game, and that's rock, paper, scissors.
Okay.
We have roulette, blackjack, Texas Hold'em. Yes. So it should be a great time.
Gambling for a cause. We also are going to have a hidden speakeasy that
Okay.
requires a password to get in.
Uh-oh.
And it's going to be absolutely fabulous. We have some surprise entertainment. We also have DJ Digital.
I saw DJ Digital on
It's
there.
amazing.
If you like to
And
dance,
if you like to
that's
dance,
where you
he's
need to
your
be on
guy.
Friday night.
It's hard to get Becca and I off the dance floor because
Find
he's
us on
so
the dance
good.
So is the dancing going to be like the 20s? We're going to break out the Charleston?
There'll be a little bit of mix.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Also, I believe there's a raffle with Lee Michaels as well. And food, drink, all of it.
Food, drink, all the things are included. Lee Michaels has generously donated a beautiful diamond tennis necklace
Mhm.
that's valued at $5,500. So you can buy a raffle, and you don't have to be present to win. And then we have a silent auction that is live, and you also do not need to attend the event to do it. But please come to the event because it is so much fun. It's from 7 to 11, and you can buy tickets at the event.
Yep. You can just walk up and come. If you decide Friday night that you're feeling good, come on over. You can get your ticket at the door.
If you wanted to purchase tickets ahead of time, where do you go?
You
Yep,
go
so
to
you go to the
LASM.
website.
Yep. Sorry about that. LASM.org/gala will give you all the information you need to know about this event and get you a ticket ahead. So maybe it'll make the line a little faster.
And
for you.
it's open bar. The food is going to be fabulous. We've got champagne, shrimp cocktail, oysters, caviar, you name it. We've got a lineup of gourmet food that is to die for.
Now, I'm one that if you offer me the opportunity to costume up, I'm going to. But for those that might not want to get full costume, cocktail attire is
Yep.
accepted?
Cocktail is fine.
There's a lot of range of awesome ideas that you could do, whether you're just like a gentleman in a tuxedo
Mhm.
or cocktail, or you could be like Amelia Earhart. Just think 1920s. It doesn't have to be a flapper, but that is welcome as well.
No, I'll go full Al Capone.
Al Capone,
You got to go full Al
exactly.
Capone.
Yes.
Get in your Prohibition era for sure.
Yeah, I wanted my husband to kind of, be a bankster, but he's preferring the more professional look for the evening.
Understood.
Yeah.
I'll work on him a little bit.
Thank you.
Smoking jacket. Yes.
Coming up Friday night, 7 to 11. That would be October 10th, Friday night, 7 to 11, out of the Louisiana Arts and Science Museum. And they're putting on the Ritz. Kay, Becca, thank you all so much for a couple minutes.
Thank you for having us.
Cool. All right. We'll do Ronald Reagan at 7:55. And we're going to run all the way to 50 if we can. We're going to run up to 50 if we can. 636 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics, hopping on board in just a quick second, but I do need to remind you about the folks over at Mathern's. It's another home game week, y'all, so you know what I'm telling you about, right? Stopping by Mathern's on game day. They're in the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center. They're directly across the street from Tiger Stadium, the closest grocery store to Tiger Stadium because it's physically on campus. If there's anything you forgot for your tailgate, swing on by Mathern's. If you bounce from tailgate to tailgate, stop by for a cold beer. Stop by for a bowl of jambalaya. They've got you covered. Of course, Mathern's is there for you as a full-service grocery store every single day of the week. In fact, they're downtown. They're in the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center, and they're on Highland just west of Kenilworth. But on game day, we like to remind you that there is no better game day stop for whatever you forgot, whatever you ran out of, whatever your tailgate needs. It's at Mathern's. All right, time to welcome in Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics. The early voting is in the books. The election's coming up Saturday. Jeff, how are you, man?
Hey, good morning, Brian.
Good morning. Okay, first, no, I would be remiss if we didn't start with this. I know you don't do a sports show, but the vibe around the city is different after a Saints win and after losing 4 in a row. How's it feeling down there right now?
Yeah, it's so different. I mean, the city is so wrapped up in the Saints. It's amazing. What I find incredible is that there's still sellouts for teams 0-4. I mean,
Right.
It's just such incredible passion for the Saints, and it's just a whole different vibe after a win, especially one that I think a lot of people didn't even expect. So, yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
And there's hope that the team could be in a good rebuilding season, setting stage for future success. So people are happy.
Well, I have my concerns over it because big picture wise, the Saints no longer have their league protection in Paul Tagliabue. We've talked about the whole story before about how Paul Tagliabue was a young lawyer working for the NFL when they were looking to get working their way through antitrust to merge the AFL with the NFL, and he hooked up with
Right.
Russell Long and Hale Boggs, and that's how the Saints came to be. The deal there was, we'll get you through all the antitrust stuff, but you got to give New Orleans a team. Well, without Paul Tagliabue, with Roger Goodell, there is no protection
Right.
in New Orleans. So you need to have a winner on the field, or at the very least, you need to have a full Superdome every time out in order to continually prove your worth to the NFL.
Right.
So, all right.
And I
good.
think they have over the years. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
we've had more horrible seasons than good seasons in our history, and the fans have still been loyal through the ain'ts, through the wearing the bags over their heads. I mean, the whole the whole history that we had to go through 20 years before we had a winning season,
Yep.
and just on and on and on. And yeah, you're right. I mean, the protection's not there. I do think it was good to see that extension of the lease signed.
Yeah.
That we finally got the players on board to get that done. Better late than never. So that was a good sign as well.
Actually, how much how dialed in are you on that story? Like the separation of the lease of the Dome versus Benson Tower?
Somewhat. I mean, certainly not an expert on it. I mean, I think, there were snags, obviously, in that whole negotiation.
Mhm.
But, I'm glad that at least now we've got a little bit of certainty about the, about the Saints. And then, think about it, Brian. I mean, the Superdome has stood the test of time. I mean, all the domes that were built in the aftermath that have now been demolished, and the Superdome's still here.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's an amazing facility. They've upgraded it so many times. It's still, I think, a first class facility, and you can't get a better location for a stadium than where the Superdome is.
And that's part of the equation, or at least it ought to be. We're talking with Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics, and yes, we are going to get the New Orleans mayor's race eventually. But that's part of the equation, Jeff, is everybody demands new stadiums, and then when the Super Bowl comes to New Orleans, they say, we love that it's right here in the heart of the CBD. We love that we can walk everywhere. We love that you can get from the convention center to the Dome to the Quarter and work that little triangle effect right there within the city. If you're going to build another stadium, you're going to get a scenario where it's either way out in New Orleans East or I mean, God forbid, somewhere on the West Bank. Like it's not going to be where it is.
Right. Right, and they've looked at all these other locations, and people threatened building new stadiums and moving away from the Superdome. But you come back to what you're talking about, the convenience.
Right.
I mean, accessibility to the interstate, to the French Quarter, to the CBD, to all the attractions. I mean, it's just it can't be beat. So, it is the premier location. It makes us such a great Super Bowl location, and if we can just keep people safe, that'll help. And certainly, I think we've got the venue for it with the Superdome. So I'm just glad that they finally got that signed.
Yeah, same. And we'll start probably start the conversation pretty soon about. I hate to do it because she's been so wonderful for the city, but the succession conversation it's got to start pretty soon for Gail.
Right. Yeah. We've got to figure out. I mean, she's in good health and doing well, and she's vibrant for her age.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we need to figure out how things are going to be going post Gail Benson. You're right. That's a key conversation right there. I mean, look at everything that happened with Tom Benson. Right.
So, I mean, wanting to work, if we're out in front of it, it would be amazing. If Todd Graves line one, let's go. It's just this could be a very, very simple equation, but the longer it draws out, and like you said, the succession from Tom to Gail was not the smoothest thing.
Yeah, it was a horror show.
Well,
yeah.
All right.
And
go ahead.
We still get stories about Rita Benson LaWall. Anyway, that's another topic.
Oh, yeah.
So.
That's if we move to an after-hour show right there. Let's talk about the mayor's race. Early voting is in the books. Are we able to discern anything other than turnout?
I think one of the key factors is that turnout has been high. That they've sensed more enthusiasm for this election than we have the last time, which was an abysmal 28% turnout. So, this is certainly generating more interest. Obviously, it is very, very close for Helena Moreno to win this thing in the first. She's running a very smooth campaign, seems to be someone has taken the attacks and just moved on, gathering incredible endorsements, money. So, I mean, she is everywhere. I mean, all over. She's everywhere but going to the debates. But, I mean, she's on, she missed a lot of forums and so forth, but she doesn't need to. She's the front runner.
Right, and I hate that so much. I hated that during the governor's race. As much as I like Jeff, I hated the fact that you had this traveling cavalcade of also-rans who stood in front of every question that the public had to ask and gave them answers, and then you got somebody who's just immune to it. And Moreno has that kind of omnipresence right now that she doesn't have to.
Right, exactly right. And that's what you have in these races where you have, a front runner with a big lead. And look at Jeff. He was able to win with 52% of the vote, avoid a runoff, and that was key to it. He didn't have to appear at a lot of these other forums that the challengers did. And you get that same sort of a vibe here. I'm going to be interested to see how the Republican candidate is able to generate support in these final few days. That could be the difference of whether she makes it into, office in the first primary, whether she's forced into a runoff, because every vote he gets is a vote coming from her. And, if he generates any last-minute support and is able to maybe get in double digits or something, that could force a runoff.
Is she the most Republican or is she the most centrist of the Democratic candidates?
No.
Okay.
No. She's just, quote, white Hispanic. And,
right.
A lot of people view her as the inevitable winner and, got behind her early. And, I just want people to remember she is the former chairwoman of the Kamala Harris campaign.
Yeah.
She's very left wing. But she's certainly articulate. She's smart. She's would make a much better presentation for New Orleans than LaToya Cantrell.
Who would be the centrist? Who would be the compromise candidate here?
Well, I mean, Duplessis has got a pretty left-wing record in the legislature. I mean, he could have been. I mean, he talks about working with Jeff Landry, and then Oliver would be. I mean, if he didn't have his conviction in his background, I mean, he might be the leading candidate right now. But that's been sort of really harmed him because that was all brought to the surface again when LaToya got indicted.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, he's probably someone who's also worked across the aisle from his position on the council. So you don't really have a moderate among
Right.
these candidates. You don't really have someone who's really a maverick. They're all pretty traditional left-wing Democrats. And, we'll just see. New Orleans is used to that. I mean, that's what New Orleans has been electing for a while. So
Well, I asked Jeff.
that's what it's going to get. There's no Coach Sid in the
Right.
in the wings waiting.
Well, okay, so up here, Coach Sid was the conservative candidate. Ted James was the moderate down the middle that a lot of folks thought was going to, let's just get to a runoff, and then we'll vote for Ted. And as things, as momentum picked up and whatnot, Coach he caught fire. I mean, he went viral in real life. And it was literally, it was fun to watch and to follow because you're following something you weren't expecting completely. So what the question I'm asking lends to motivation. If you are a Republican in New Orleans, obviously you want to go out and vote for a Republican candidate, but are you that motivated to show up if you know the best you could do is force a runoff between two left-wing candidates who you're not going to have a better answer than?
Right, exactly. You don't have that kind of scenario, right? So certainly among Republicans, it could be a grind to get them to vote. But I mean, we're not talking about a huge number of people.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about a small slice. I mean, of the electorate. I mean, in the past, Republican candidates have gotten between 10 and 20%, and I'm talking about Landry and President Trump, and so it's not a big percentage of the vote here. But in a closer race, it could be the key. And this, does have the potential if either these Republicans don't come out and vote for Moreno, or they vote for the Republican candidate. that could be the difference. And I would predict, based on the numbers that I'm seeing, that if there is a runoff, it might be with Royce Duplessis because he's been able to generate more fundraising and better finances in these last few days than Oliver Thomas.
Okay, all right. I mean, so long as there's a conversation to be had, it will be better for New Orleans. I mean, I can't guarantee outcomes because everyone's on the left, but
right.
As long as the conversation is still being had, issues will be raised. In the meanwhile, you got a show to get to. We always appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brian. Take care, man.
You do the same. We're at 649 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Enough time before Your Money Now to tell you about the folks at 5 Star Printing and Signs. My guy Danny and his team, they have specialized in making sure that your business is never out of sight, out of mind. Okay? And they do this in a number of different ways. Sure, there's all the printed materials, the brochures, the business cards, the actual signage. But there's also the merch. If you hop on printshop5.com, printshop5.com, slapping your logo on something as easy as a coffee mug, a travel mug, slapping your logo, and I don't want to get into name brands and whatnot, but you know what I'm talking about when I talk about the travel mug, right? The Yeti, Arctic, whatever, Corksicle, whatever the brand actually is, having your logo front and center, make sure you're never out of the conversation. Make sure you're always top of mind. Printshop5.com to learn more. Printshop5.com. Danny just texted me after hearing his live read spot. He just texted me a thumbs up. I said, I'll do raps tomorrow. I'm trying to narrow down to one specific talking point per day rather than spraying everything. He texted back. He says, always watching, Wazowski. My guy dropping the Monsters, Inc. reference.
Yeah.
Always watching, Wazowski. Shoot. Oh, how long do I have?
I mean, not that long, about 2 minutes.
All right, I gotta run up to my office.
Okay, yeah, you got time for that. I just never know, so just want to make sure.
Having trouble catching my breath this morning. Moving fast. 6:55, Talk 103 FM, WBRP. We've almost got 1 hour of the show in the books. Thanks again to Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics. Next time he joins us, New Orleans will have a new mayor-elect. So, already looking forward to next week's conversation. Hey, coming up next hour, we're going to talk with Rodney Mallett from DOTD. There's a little bit of a jam up on the interstate this morning. And yeah, the delays, they're building up. If you're on the west side coming to the east side, you already know on 10 eastbound coming across the Horace Wilkinson Bridge, the I-10 bridge, it is slow going. The reason for that is they had to shut a lane down on I-10 eastbound around City Park Lake. This is due to cement that didn't cure the way it was supposed to. 20 minutes from right now, we'll talk with Rodney Mallett, kind of get a little more of the science without having me glaze over. But they did two lanes, and Roddy said the center lane cured the way it was supposed to. The left lane did not. And I immediately thought it was like the moisture in the air, the rain yesterday and whatnot. But there's no way it rained more in the left lane than it did the center lane. You don't get down to that kind of minutia. Although I will say this, Yesterday, cross-country practice out at Independence Park, deluge. Like about 10 minutes after 6. Skies opened up, and, we had big old fat rain. And meanwhile, if you crossed Airline into Broadmoor, you had no idea. It was just clear as day. So, very compartmentalized weather yesterday. We're at 6:57 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Quick programming note: we will be on the road tomorrow. Louisiana Association of Business and Industry, their annual workers' comp conference is coming up tomorrow at L'Auberge. We started this last year, and this is going to be an every year thing because they bring the show out there. We go deep dive into the wide world of workers' comp. The rough and tumble, never say die world of workers' comp. And if I'm being completely honest, when we did this last year, I had no idea what to expect. And then coming out on the back end, I was floored. The level of information, the level of knowledge, if you're a business owner, a business leader, it dives in everything. Like, this is all about the cost of doing business. And it was fascinating stuff, so we're doing it again. And that's coming up tomorrow, 6 till 9, the morning, the regular show right here on Talk 107.3. Liz Murrell's office was busy yesterday. I believe 5 different press releases came out from the AG's office. Whew. Need to run her down for later in the week. They're going to be conducting an independent investigation into the state police's investigation into the crash that involved late LSU star receiver Kyron Lacey. This after newly surfaced video shows that Lacey did not cause the fatal crash that he was accused of causing, despite the state police's report that stated otherwise. Now, after being accused of causing the crash, Lacey took his own life. State Democratic Party Executive Director Darius Lannis says he wants to know how many other similar instances are out there.
How many other cases under this particular officer that were handled the same way and that could have possibly been false reported and somebody else's lives would change?
I think we would have heard about it if you had another instance where someone took their own life afterwards. If you're just curious as to whether or not this officer was giving false reports, that's one thing. But I don't want to trivialize Kyron Lacey by wrapping this up into something that's not what it is. Lannis says after viewing the video, it seems state police investigators have some explaining to do.
Based off the footage that we have seen, that the public has seen, there's a lot of questions that need to be answered because clearly the reports don't match the video footage that we did see.
And that's what the investigation will uncover. And that's why Liz Murrell's office is getting involved. So we will continue to follow the story as it advances. Right now, here comes news. Hour 2 is next. By the way, good morning to the chat. I apologize, y'all. I've been trying to put together a 7:15 segment. I had a last-second cancellation, which we will be able to explain probably after 10 o'clock this morning. Hopefully after 10 o'clock this morning. What up? Bud Light needs to bring those guys back.
Yeah. When that started?
Can you
Did that
play-
start after the first scary movie? Was it with Marlon Wayans?
No, scary movie. No. Bud Light started it.
They did.
It was a Super Bowl commercial.
Oh, okay. And then scary movie, I guess, just ran with it.
Scary movie spoofed what was in the Super Bowl
Okay.
commercial. Then it turned into a whole series of commercials.
Yeah. I'm sorry. What was
7:15 coming back in. Can you play Just Like Heaven for the bumper?
Of course.
Thank you. Did I forward you the 2 sound bites?
For what?
For 7:15.
Mm-mm. Let me double check though. No. Last thing I got was. Last email I received from you was last night.
No, this would have been within the last hour.
Oh, no.
It's no worries. Oh, I've got to go back up and grab something off the printer. .705 Talk 107.3 FM WPRP. Whew. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Brian here with you. JP producing a busy hour this hour. We're going to talk with Dr. Cade Brumley at 7:35. Rodney Mallett from DOTD coming up about 10 minutes from right now. I'll explain why during Top Stories and Trending.
Number 5.
A coalition of black lawmakers went to court yesterday hoping to convince a judge that Louisiana's attorney general was obligated to defend a congressional district map that led to the state electing 2 Democrats to the U.S. House last year. The judge refused.
Number 4.
ACLU claimed in a lawsuit against President Donald Trump's administration that a detainee is being held at the Louisiana State Penitentiary in Angola, even though his deportation order is more than 6 months old. The ACLU says that is unconstitutional.
Number 3.
State Legislative Black Caucus yesterday requested an investigation into the Louisiana State Police after a lawyer for former LSU football player Kyron Lacey disputed trooper statements that led to Lacey's arrest on a negligent homicide charge back in January. AG Liz Murrell's office put out a statement saying she's been in touch with state police about independently reviewing all the witness statements and evidence in this case. Of course, after being accused of negligent homicide, Kyron Lacey took his own life.
Number 2.
One deputy was killed, another seriously injured in a shooting at the Iberville Parish Courthouse last night. Local officials said 2 deputies were shot by a suspect. One was around 8 p.m. Sources said one of the deputies died after being rushed to the hospital. Their identity is being withheld as law enforcement makes notification with family members. District Attorney Tony Clayton said the other injured deputy is Brett Stassi Jr., the son of Iberville Parish Sheriff Brett Stassi.
Number 1.
Okay, it looks like the interstate, the left-hand lane on I-10 eastbound by City Park Lake is reopening right now. It had been closed throughout the morning because the cement had not cured yet, and it has been causing delays throughout the morning. If you're on 10 eastbound coming across from the other side of the river, bear with it, just a little bit more patience because between the lane closure and the fog, there have been a few backups. Rodney Mallett from DOTD is going to join us 7 minutes from right now just to kind of walk through process a little bit. Not to really get too deep into the science, maybe a little bit into the science, but just to kind of walk through process a little bit about, is this regular? Does this happen frequently? What is the science behind it? So we'll talk with him about 10 minutes from right now.
Well, Bloomberg has North Louisiana on its list of potential hotspots for more data centers.
Little positive and negative on this one there, JP. Yeah. I'm positive. I like to be a hotspot for anybody as far as like pinpointing more business.
For sure.
But dude, the amount of power it's going to take.
So it's definitely going to be a hot
spot. Yeah, which means it's going to need cooling as well.
Yes.
But my thing is like with the power that needs to be generated for this meta data center near Holly Ridge.
Yep.
You're talking about powering a small city. So do we really want to do more of those? Well, Public Service Commission is going to get busy real soon.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. It's something to think about, right? Are we talking about so much energy that it could cause blackouts maybe? Are we thinking like that? Or are we thinking like just...
You don't want to think like that on the front end, but you almost have to, right?
Right. That's what I guess where my mind goes. Yeah. Well, is Louisiana loving Donald Trump, Brian? Well, as of this month, the president has an approval rating of 56% in the state.
There's normally a drop-off in a second term.
Yeah.
Leading up to midterms for sure.
Yep.
There's normally a drop-off right there just from candidate fatigue or whatever. But, hey, if he's got pumping 50%, 56% in Louisiana. And so this is going to be important for next year's Senate race because it really looks like the candidates are all aligning to say who could be the Donald Trump's best friend. Who's the Trumpiest of Trumpers out there? That is, forget about your own resume. Just who can claim to be the closest to Donald Trump. And if Donald Trump is polling at 56%, it's not a bad strategy.
No, not indeed.
But so you've got, as of right now, Blake Miguez is touting his resume on a state level as, MAGA conducive. You've got Bill Cassidy saying, I voted to impeach the guy 5 years ago, but look how well we've worked together since. And then you got John Fleming who says, I used to be on his cabinet. And the other two candidates are saying, but you didn't get invited back to the party, pal. Oof. So it's going to be who can cozy the most.
Oh, man.
Who wants to be, like I said, the Trumpiest of Trumpers.
Yeah.
And look, like I said, 56%. There's worse strategies out there.
Oh, for sure. Well, in other news, a newly discovered asteroid just whizzed past Earth, marking the second closest asteroid flyby on record, according to astronomers.
266 miles.
That's insane.
By the way, between when we did the story in the last hour and now, I actually did Google how far it is to Houston.
Yeah.
268 miles. So
wow,
this asteroid was from here to Houston, from missing the Earth from here to Houston.
That's insane.
It is.
They're also saying they could produce fireballs if they strike Earth's atmosphere and may result in the discovery of small meteorites on the ground. So
you're my best friend, meteorite.
That's right. That's a space peanut. So yeah, but nonetheless, I mean, when we put it into perspective of how close that is to Earth, like
it's pretty darn close.
Oof.
Here to Houston, it's a 4-hour drive.
Wow.
Like, and it's moving faster than the 70 miles an hour you're going to go on the interstate. right?
Yeah.
That's
Man, yeah. It's insane.
yeah. We're at 712 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Do I try with the segue? Because if you wanted
I
to
don't
go
know
to
how.
Houston, if you wanted
Yeah.
to go to Houston, get
There
there
you go.
faster than 4 hours, flybtr.com is your answer right there. Flybtr.com. In fact, 3 minutes from right now, the daily direct flight to Washington, D.C. is going to take off. I love this flight because it is a true testament to what we can do as a people. If we want a better airport, if we want more direct flights from our airport, we have to utilize the flights that are available, right? We have to show the airlines, yeah, there's business to be had here. And if you take a look at, let's see, departures for this morning, actually the flight to Houston's already arrived. But taking off for Washington, D.C., that is, no. It took off at 7, excuse me. I was thinking 7:15. It took off at 7. It's already departed. It's already in the air. And we'll get to Washington, D.C. 30 minutes from now. I mean, it's just so convenient. And let's translate this or pivot this into a conversation about LSU football. Nashville game, Bama game, Oklahoma game. There are direct flights built out specifically for the games to take you to Nashville, Birmingham, and Oklahoma City, respectively. Learn more at flybtr.com. Awesome. Yeah. No. We've got a problem with the Cure. No, not the band. We're talking about Up on the Interstate. Yeah, JP, I had you dig that song up just for that one line. Interstate concrete being poured last night, not curing in time for morning drive. Joining us now, Rodney Mallett with DOTD. First of all, Rodney, welcome back. How are you?
Doing good. How are you guys today? I thought it's funny that you're thinking people are driving 70 to get to Houston on I-10.
Well, okay, once you get past Lafayette, that stretch between Lafayette and Lake Charles, 70 is the low end.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah, to be sure. Okay, so first of all, welcome back. Secondly, thank you for the heads up. I always appreciate the communication because this is morning drive time, and getting the word out quickly can help folks get to work a couple minutes sooner. So thank you for the heads up. At I believe it was like 6:19 this morning that we were going to be looking at a lane closure.
Yep, that's when I got the notice this morning. The contractor who was repairing the slab called and said that the concrete had not cured to spec, so they could open it. So they had to keep that left lane closed. They did their work overnight. We've been doing this before, and we try to do night work to minimize impacts, especially on our peak hours. But it didn't meet spec when it was time this morning to open up. So they had to postpone the opening, and they should be pulling the cones and barricades out right now.
Okay, so that means within the hour, cars will be driving over this.
That is correct, and it will be hardened to spec, so it would be safe to do so.
How does that happen that fast?
How does what happen?
Curing it like that. So for anybody who's, poured a driveway, poured a sidewalk, poured a slab, you're used to like 2-3 days to get this done. This is obviously a different product, a different process.
Yeah, different. It has to be, and they did it overnight. So it's been out there for a while. They still thought, this morning they were going to be able to make their 5 a.m. Deadline, but it didn't make it. So it was about 2 hours behind, which isn't good for morning traffic. It's another reason why we promote our 511la.org website and the 511 LA app, as well as Waze and Google Maps, so you can check your route in the morning and find a path of less resistance should something like this or a crash or something occur on your regular route.
Always good information right there. We're talking with Rodney Mallett from DOTD. And this is also just another reminder of when, y'all are working on projects, when you give us estimates of when they'll be done, they are estimates for reasons exactly like this.
That's exactly right. It's hard to put a hard deadline on something like this because, like you and I were talking this morning, sometimes these things are dependent on weather, and sometimes it's dependent on the concrete that we received or the contractor receives from their supplier, and it didn't harden up like it had in the past.
So, but you said the center lane did. That I find that interesting. Like they're right next to each other. Is there any way?
I was wrong about that this morning because we did the center lane a couple weeks ago during the day, but this was a different panel on the same side, and it was connected with the same issue where the washout was causing the panels to rock, and so you were getting like 2 or 3 inches of panel that was sitting up, which that's a pretty nice size lip to hit in a car, but on a motorcycle it could be very bad. So that's why, we had to do that emergency closure because we couldn't let it get any worse. And we wanted to do it at night so we could minimize the impacts to our daily peak hour travel. But it didn't cure in time. We apologize for that.
Well, yeah, we understand these things happen, and it's important that the communication happens on the front end because frustration happens when there's a vacuum in communication. Got Rodney Mallett for just another minute or two talking about this. So, where are we at for, as far as concrete being poured, concrete curing, and all these things? We're in the thick of it right now, correct?
Well, right now, we were, for this particular location, we had to replace a panel about a week or so ago, and we did that. And then they did the permanent fix last night, and that's what we're doing now, or that's curing now. That's hopefully they're picking up the barriers as we speak, and then we will be back to normal. Hopefully we'll not have to address this issue for quite some time.
Good to know. Before we get you out of here, any other hot spots, any other things that are on the radar this morning that we need to be aware of?
Not that I'm aware of, but I have been listening to your traffic reports just in case I need to get in touch with somebody about something. But this has been the issue of the day, issue of the morning.
Dude, if information is going from us to y'all, that's like traveling upstream, man.
No, I'm going to tell you, I was trying to promote your show.
I greatly appreciate it.
But our folks at the Traffic Management Center that we man 24 hours, and they have the cameras and, and they're in constant contact with law enforcement. Believe me, they are very good about contacting me at all hours of the day and night if something goes awry. That's how come I was able to get in touch with you as soon as I found out this morning. Which
is always appreciated. He's Rodney Mallett with DOTD. Thank you for a couple minutes this morning.
Anytime, Brian. Talk to you later.
Later on. So cones are in the process of being removed literally as we speak. That's about as up to minute as traffic can possibly be. So if you are in that mess on I-10 eastbound coming across from West Baton Rouge, actually, it looks like it's just about You could tell it's in the clearing stages already. Now, if you're on 110 southbound, you know how backed up it is. You're all the way back to, what was it, the curve by Memorial Stadium. It's stop and go throughout Baton Rouge on 110 southbound right now. So bear with it a little while longer. It's about to open up with a whole other lane. 722 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. We're going to pivot here, talk about the National Guard in just a quick second. And by just a quick second, I mean enough time for me to find my notes. There we go. Before we do, though, let me remind you about the folks over at Landmark Bank. LandmarkBankLA.com is the website. I can't speak highly enough of having a community bank. They were founded in 1897. And in 2025, they remain a community bank. And this is important for so many reasons. And I'll tell you about, on the personal banking side, talking about having a banker that will sit down with you to talk about your wants, needs, dreams, and desires. What are you borrowing money for? What are you planning for? Are you planning for the future? Are you planning for retirement? Are you borrowing to buy a car? Are you borrowing to do upgrades on your home? Are you looking to buy that forever home? Maybe you want to make sure that as you start to prep for your kids going to school, that those tuitions are paid for. It's so important on the personal front, but on the business front, it might be even more important. And every business owner out there, every entrepreneur out there who had to go through COVID and the PPP loan process knows the difference between your business being just a drop in the bucket for some multinational company versus that community bank, that local banker who was going to be up 22 hours out of the day making sure that your business was taken care of because of those relationships. Because when you're a community bank, you're all about relationships. Check them out online at landmarkbankla.com. The National Guard story, sending National Guard troops into various cities around the country. It doesn't seem like it's going away, but there is starting to become a question that's a part of this. Now, the president wants to deploy National Guard troops into more American cities like Portland, which the president on Monday called a burning hellhole. Portland's mayor and Oregon's governor disagree. They say they're well equipped to handle a group of protesters stationed in front of ICE headquarters in Portland, and that they don't need an influx of federalized National Guard troops to keep the peace. The city's police chief, Bob Day, he talked with ABC News, and he had this to say. Cut one.
I think anytime we increase the national attention, it draws in a lot of folks that are not necessarily from the area, but they're looking to maybe create some energy. And the National Guard is not needed at this time for this particular problem.
Now, Day was very, I don't want to say political in his answer, but very diplomatic in his answer. When he was talking to ABC News, he did fully mention that he is appreciative of the National Guard, just they don't want them right now.
We are grateful for their service, respectful of the National Guard. These are citizen shoulders, Oregonians. They're our neighbors, our friends, and et cetera. But for that role, we don't need them right now.
I don't think this should be narrowed down to just this one protest, though. If you are a, quote, burning hellhole, it's probably more than one symptom adding to that, right? This would be about fighting crime overall, fighting crime from like a 10,000-foot view, and saying no to it on the front end without exploring what it would look like when it gets here or there. To me, it just feels short-sighted. Unless your city is running perfectly, it feels short-sighted. And it also kind of begs the question, when you have cities with a governor and a mayor who are both on board, why wouldn't those get to the attention of the National Guard first? If Donald Trump is looking to send National Guard troops to Portland and the governor and the mayor say, no, we don't want you here. We don't have a problem. By the way, the first step to solving a problem is admitting you have one. When the president wants to send troops to Chicago and the governor and the mayor say, no, we don't want you here. We don't have a problem. But then you turn around and our governor has requested 1,000 National Guard troops, and our mayor, in fact, JP, you got the cut? Coach Sid Edwards said last Friday exactly this. What is your opinion of bringing the National Guard into Baton Rouge?
I'm 100% behind bringing them here, and you're right. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. People, the misconceptions or what this could look like. But I get it. I understand our constituents. I mean, I understand concern. Certainly do. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it's going to look like what people envision or what they've seen in other places. And why am I for it? Let me tell you, Brian, I'm in a unique position. You know, I ran on public safety.
Yep.
And one of the catalysts was one of my young football players being murdered on the streets of Baton Rouge, January 1 of 2024. After that, 3 more were murdered. Not players, but students at the school I was at, Crouere High. Since I've been in office, I've had to hold mamas that are crying in the hospital with a dead loved one. I saw, you know, I have 2 autistic kids. I was at the hospital with a 5-year-old. Some guys were shooting across the yard from each other, just like the Wild Wild West, and shot this 5-year-old boy, and he's a miracle he survived. You know, the young plumber who is going to graduate in a day, going down Fairfields Avenue, and his stray bullet guns him down. It's too much. Our police have done a I'm talking a tremendous job out there. They really have. But they're 150 officers short. They're tired, you know, and some people say, oh, we don't have a problem in Baton Rouge. We don't. We're around 80 murders in the parish, 63 in Baton Rouge, which that is lower than what we've done. But is that really good?
Right.
What I'm looking for with the Guard is to be a presence. I'm not looking for them to knock doors down and do raids and do takedowns. I want a presence. But I don't know yet. You know, I've got to talk to the governor. It's still premature, and find out. I have asked of him, man, can they? We got a lot of events coming up. You know, people want the event, but you know it costs to have the events.
Right.
We got to have. You know, we got to pay police officers. We got to pay help. Can they help with the Mardi Gras parade? Can they help with the Christmas parade? Can they help the festivals? Heck, will they help pick up trash and help with blight? There's just a lot. But my vision of it isn't for them to come in and be the Gestapo.
And that is the bigger answer, isn't it? And I realize that was a long cut because we wanted to cover both his reasoning behind wanting the National Guard here and what it would look like once they get here, or what the possibilities are of what it would look like once they get here. So I want to go back to, and by the way, bringing in the National Guard to pick up trash probably doesn't sound like the most effective or most useful, best use of their time. But being a presence during Mardi Gras, yeah, I'll take that. Absolutely. Being a presence for the St. Patrick's Day Parade, sure, I will, and that would help out a great deal. So why not explore the different scenarios where they could help rather than just saying we don't want their help? We're going to do 2 of them. I just sent you a second one for 7:55. Oh. He should be. I don't know if I believe that. 0 illegal aliens. None. Eventually, we'd have to run out of drugs, though, wouldn't we? Like, if there are no illegal aliens coming across the world, 0.
Yeah.
They're batting
Come to
1,000.
A complete halt.
You would think we would run out of drugs. Yeah, I got to get Liz on the show. I mean, she just churned out press releases yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Here's some Cade Brumley talking points. I mean, these are like too many press releases to staple together. Like any one of those industrial staplers.
Golly.
Yeah, look at that. It jammed up. Son of a. All right. Well, I hate everything.
Come on, man. That's pretty thick, though.
Are we back?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. .736 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP programming note. We will be on the road tomorrow. The Louisiana Association of Business and Industry's annual Workers' Comp Conference. Visit labi.org/events if you wanted in on that. We do a deep dive into the wide and woolly, never say die, rough and tumble world of workers' comp. We did this last year, and the information, the content was just phenomenal. So there's no way we could pass it up not doing it again. So we will be on location at Low Bears Casino tomorrow looking at workers' comp and how it affects business throughout the state. Right now, though, it's time to talk education. We welcome back to the show Dr. Cade Brumley. Dr. Brumley, how are you, sir?
Hey, Brian, doing great. Thank you for having me on this morning.
Always love catching up with you on what's going on the education front. Let's start off with there was a story, it was last week, I believe, where advanced placement is really clicking right now.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know the extent to which the entire listening audience is aware, but there's a thing called Advanced Placement Test or AP test, and these are tests that students take in high school if they've participated in an advanced placement course over the period of the year. And so these are high level courses taught on campus, and if a student scores a certain number on that test, then they qualify for college credit just as a result of scoring so well on that particular test. So it's things like U.S. history and biology, et cetera. And so Louisiana has been participating in advanced placement for a while, but our latest results are really the highest they've ever been. And we're really excited about that because that means more students are stepping into college automatically with college credit. Parents aren't having to finance those courses when they get to college because they're already banked in high school. So it's a real testament to the teachers and the students. And I'll give you just for example. In 2021 versus 2025, we had about 3,000 more kids take these tests over the course of the year. And we had so many more that are now making that qualifying score, up 25%. Of students making that qualifying score and earning college credit. And so for 2025, I want to say we had like 13,000 kids across the state of Louisiana earn college credit simply by taking their advanced placement test after a year in that course. So really good news for kids and really good news for families. And again, just another feather in the cap for Louisiana education and the progress we're making.
How much of this, and one of the reasons I like talking education is because you could backtrack things and kind of get origin stories and whatnot. We're talking with Dr. Cade Brumley, our state superintendent of education. How much of the results that we're seeing in 24-25 stem all the way back to getting back in classrooms during COVID? Because if you're a senior right now, or if you were a senior for the 2024 to 2025 school year, you were an eighth grader coming out of COVID. How much of the success of last year, that 11% jump in last year alone, how much of that success dates back to getting back to the classroom sooner?
I was actually talking on this topic yesterday with someone who was asking a similar question, and I shared with that individual that there's no doubt in my mind that some of the progress that we have seen in comparison to other states has been our assertiveness, or was our assertiveness of ensuring kids were in class as much as possible during COVID, and I think that really helped us to stand out among other states in the country because we were top 10 consistently, sometimes top 3 for the amount of kids that were in daily face-to-face instruction, even during the heat of COVID. So, yeah, I think that has to matter. And also, I asked a couple of educators, like, why did they think we're seeing some of those results on something like AP courses right now? And a few people mentioned to me that they just feel like right now that reading, kids are just more proficient in reading because some of that is starting to matriculate up into the high school now. So, of course, that was music to my ears. But this morning I have my superintendent's teacher advisory council, which is where I call teachers together from across the state, and we talk about various issues and how to get better and what's working and what's not. And that's a question I intend to ask them.
Do y'all call it the TAC?
We call it the TAC.
I love a good acronym.
Well, if you're a teacher, or if you're, you have to have acronyms.
Yes.
So it's just the way life goes for us.
We got Dr. Cade Brumley with us for a couple more minutes. And yeah, you talk about, getting back into the classroom after COVID, but this is simultaneously working in new standards as far as reading was concerned. But I mean, you can't achieve those standards if you're not in the classroom. So those two things go hand in hand. And it's important when we talk about these topics to take a look back in time as well, because all too often, if you're talking about generationally changing education within the state, you have to look at it through a generational lens. You can't look at it through a day-to-day lens and be able to say, okay, let's pinpoint back to where we made this change on this subject and see how we're doing. Factoring in the whole equation is important.
Well, that, and then also, Louisiana, it's no secret to the listening audience, Louisiana has been long challenged educationally. So for us to be where we are today is great. We're pleased, but we're not satisfied, to have the highest ranking in our state's history at 32nd in the country on the nation's report card. But with the problems that we face, whether it's, an example would be poverty rates in the state of Louisiana, we have to put our foot on the accelerator every single day and not let up to make sure that kids get the education that they need and deserve. And I'm so proud of the teachers for the work that they are doing, but also, you and I have talked about this many times, Brian, like other things outside of the educational space really matter to education. What does the job environment look like? What does the crime environment look like? All of these types of things, which, the governor and the legislature are trying to address.
We're still a little bit soon to start quantifying those numbers, though, because that might take a few more years to get into the workforce physically.
It matters though. And,
I know.
The economy and education are linked, and it makes it more difficult to have a strong educational system if your economy is not strong, and likewise the reciprocal is if your educational system isn't meeting the mark, it makes it really hard for workforce development in the economy.
No, 100%, Dr. Brumley. All I'm saying, my point was more to the effect of the data set isn't there yet for our educational standards making their effects on the workforce. Outside work
right.
on the workforce is doing its thing as well. I just for the role of third grade reading, we haven't seen that effect yet on the workforce.
No, we do have child labor laws.
No, I mean as they age. I'm sorry. I'm making a horrible argument over here. We've got Dr. Cade Brumley with us for a couple more minutes. How about this? The U.S. Department of Education is throwing Louisiana a little bit of love to the tune of $13.5 million for charter schools to beef up their enhancements for, reading, math, and overall career readiness, huh?
Yeah, so I'm excited about this. We have, our team, we have a really good relationship with the team at the United States Department of Education. I have a really good relationship with Secretary McMahon. We received a $50+ million grant a couple of years ago to launch some additional charter schools across the state of Louisiana, and we've been working with various partners to do that work. But most recently, the U.S. Department of Ed had some funding that they made additionally available, and we raised our hand and said, "Hey, we're here, we'll take it, and here's what we'll use it for." And so we put that application in, and it's for charter schools to use for reading initiatives or math initiatives or some of the work around attendance. Basically, it's just lined out, Brian, to everything that are our priorities any given day in the state of Louisiana for education. And so they're passing down an additional $13 million our way, and we think that'll be helpful for public charter schools across the state.
Clear up a couple of myths for us, if you could, Dr. Brumley, because while there's so much talk about just getting rid of the U.S. Department of Education, if that were to happen, that wouldn't affect dollars coming to town. In fact, it would probably enhance it.
Yeah, and I've had this conversation with Secretary McMahon and other members of the administration. Obviously, they are working to return education to the states, remove some of the bureaucracy from D.C. potentially, although it would take an act of Congress, close the U.S. Department of Education. So we I support those things, but in all those conversations, it has never been about taxpayer dollars not returning to Louisiana. The dollars still need to return for the education of children. It's just what's different is let's cut out that middleman in D.C. and furthermore, let's make sure that to all extents possible, we're able to use those dollars to the priorities that we've created in Louisiana alongside moms and dads and teachers and policymakers, and without D.C. necessarily telling us how those dollars need to be used.
Right. You skip right past the bureaucratic buffet.
Yeah. And look, I believe in the leaders in our state, and I believe in the work that's happening, and we've really just tried to narrow the scope to teach kids to read, teach kids to do math, make sure when they graduate they're ready for what's next. Elevate the teacher, expand opportunities for the parent. These are this is a narrow approach that we have taken and have not tried to chase all these shiny things. And I think with additional federal funds or with federal funds minus additional streams, we could invest more in those areas.
We got about 2.5 minutes left with Dr. Cade Brumley, our state superintendent of education, getting an overall update on where we're at right now. Can we talk about streamlining state tests for high school students? Because I know Bessie's going to be looking at that this month.
Yeah, so I mean, I am someone who believes that we absolutely have to assess students. We have to know where they are so we can tell their parents, so the teacher has better information on how to educate, so you can make policy decisions or government can make finance decisions. So I think testing is really important. But we have endeavored over the last couple of years to reduce the amount of time that students take testing. So last year, our LEAP test for reading and math, it was 25% shorter. We made an announcement that we were cutting social studies test in half in terms of the amount of years when a student takes a end-of-year social studies test. Louisiana is the only state in the country where kids take a social studies test at the end of every year. So we're looking to cut that in half. We're looking to cut the science in half for the end of year. And then most recently, we've announced that in the high schools, instead of doing 6 tests for students to take prior to graduation, has been the way in which the state has handled that, we intend to move to 4, and they would be comprehensive exams. So in order to graduate high school, not only would students have to pass their courses, but they would have to pass a comprehensive exam in English, in math, in science, and in civics. And so we just feel like we are making smart decisions on reducing the amount of time that kids are sitting there taking these standardized tests. We're trying to get results back sooner for teachers and policy leaders, all while not compromising the idea that we need to make sure that we have accurate information on where kids are. And for us, merit really continues to matter. You know, we're not one of these states that's removing tests and saying that tests aren't important for graduation. We're one of the only states that requires the passage of a test for students to graduate high school. So I'm really proud of that. That will not change under my watch. I believe that that's important, but I also just think we've got to balance this out and not have, kids sitting there all day taking tests.
Absolutely. And yeah, the balance is where the secret sauce is. He is Dr. Cade Brumley, our state superintendent of education. We always appreciate the time, sir.
All right. Thanks, Brian. Take care, man.
Thank you. We'll talk to you soon. We're coming up on 750 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. We're going to have a little fun when we come back. I'm down a TikTok rabbit hole that is multi-generational. We'll talk about it next. Catholic High has a backup quarterback right now. He's a freshman that came from Mercy. He's really, really good. And there's a lot of parents in the stands already saying we want him at quarterback and not the guy who's out there right now. And, he's probably going to be a 4-star quarterback. His name is Huckleberry Finley. His last name is Finley. Huckleberry Finley is his name. His mother is Jen Finley, the press secretary for Dr. Strain, who will be here on Thursday. You know full well if he's a 4-star quarterback, Scott Van Pelt on Sports Center is going to run with a story about him just because his name is Huckleberry Finley. That's a Key and Peele episode. Why? It's awesome. That is such an awesome name. We're going to talk about it with Strain on Thursday. Yeah. Finley. Right?
He's just taking that name and just run with it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Yeah, I'll be on the lookout for it, man. Catholic High's backup quarterback. Catholic High's backup quarterback is named Huckleberry Finley. He's good, too.
He better be good with a name like that. It's like a boy named Sue, you know what I mean? Like, he
Wow.
better be tough.
Yeah, but, like, I mean, Huck is not a girl's name.
No.
That's...
But still, Huckleberry. Come on.
Huck, I
You're
don't know.
getting roasted in school. You're getting, come on.
It's just Huck.
Huck.
I know. It's a very easy way to make fun of that name. I know.
But if you're killing it on the field,
Oh, come on.
can't really make fun of you there.
Problem is the running back is black and his first name's Jim. Not really.
Oh.
Excuse me. Oh, sorry, y'all. $7:55, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Got Vex European written down as my next live read, and this is where the story starts. Shout out to the folks over at Vex European, Vinny and his team. They're off of Benefit Drive, backside of Industrial Plex. If you drive a European vehicle, check out vexeuropean.com. Not going to push for you to make an appointment right now, though, because today through the end of the week, they're closed. Closed down, closing up shop, heading out, I believe, to South Carolina for some deep dive training on a number of different makes and models. Name for me, if you would please, another mechanic shop that would close up shop for 4 days, that would just sacrifice the revenue of 4 days to make sure they're ahead of the curve when it comes to their knowledge, to make sure that they're ahead of the curve when it comes to all the latest coming out of Germany or Italy or anywhere in Europe that your vehicle is made. If you drive a European vehicle, this is what Vex does. They specialize in European vehicles. Tell me anybody else out there that closes up shop for an entire week, the entire shop, for an entire week, to make sure that they have the greatest level of expertise. I call it Vexpertise, the greatest level of expertise out there. That's why I love them. I was over there yesterday. And they're just redid the break room or the waiting room or whatever. If you go to my Facebook page, took a picture of the little snack, what'd you call that? Cabinets and whatnot. Had myself a little cup of coffee, grabbed myself a granola bar, sat down, started doing emails, and then I got lost in TikTok. VexEuropean.com, by the way. I got lost in TikTok because there is an AI world in TikTok right now that I just can't get enough of. Historical figures. George Washington, Martin Luther King Jr., JFK, Ronald Reagan, any number of great historical figures. Abraham Lincoln's in there somewhere, doing things that you wouldn't expect them to do. Ronald Reagan in a WWE wrestling match with JFK. With JFK smashing Ronald Reagan on the back with a steel chair. The AI, y'all, Sora AI, when Haggai comes in on Thursday and tells us how great Sora is and why it's like so good that it's dangerous. Here's a perfect example. All right, anybody with teenage kids knows we're all sick of the phrase 6'7", right? Here's a perfect example from the 40th president of the United States.
My fellow Americans, I have two things to say. 6, 7.
Dude, the voice is spot on. And the look is spot on as well. And it's not just Reagan. John F. Kennedy making a demand in a speech.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask them to release the Epstein files.
They're so we are about, 3 hours away from not knowing fantasy from reality. It is crunch time now to not know what's real and what's not. There was another one I didn't send you, JP, of Martin Luther King Jr. Saying, nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday.
I see it. Oh, my
Can you get to it?
I could. Maybe I should cue it up just to be sure?
Yeah.
There's nothing to...
It's so real. It's so lifelike. I can't get enough of them either. The wrestling matches are great. Stephen Hawking driving his wheelchair on a half pipe.
I was about to literally took the words out of my mouth.
What else is in there? Bob Ross. Those get dark. I don't want to go down that path.
I got MLK's.
Go for it.
My friends, I tell you today, nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday.
We got to get out of here. Hour 3's next.
Oh, my goodness, man.
It's so real. By the way, that's what TikTok's algorithm feeds me.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what Facebook's algorithm feeds me? Political fights. Nothing but political fights. And meat. A lot of meat. A lot of people chopping up steaks.
They got one of Paul Walker. Paul Walker loves electric cars. Dude. But yeah, I saw the Stephen Hawking one. He was in a wrestling match. There was one, and then the other one on a half pipe.
I saw one of Bob Ross painting the Twin Towers.
No.
After they'd been hit. Oh. Just had a little smoke coming out of the building right here.
The fact
you
that
gotta
you
put the
added
reflection of it in the
after
water.
Oh man.
It was, dude. They're so ridiculous. They are so ridiculously awesome.
And it's also terrifying because that can blur the line. It blurs the line so much of just
my fellow. Yeah, just
us will know better.
Right. Well, and some of them
some of them are
like
clearly
Jesus Christ swimming in the Olympics. I'm sorry, everyone else is swimming and he's running on top of the water, beating everybody.
Bro.
George Washington hitting a home run in the World Series. Like those, those are blatantly obvious, right? Yeah.
But when you got their voices and things like that.
But the voices are so on point.
Yeah, mine has been listening to music made by artists who are no longer here, and it's insane. It's absolutely
insane. Kobe Bryant and Martin Luther King talking shit about a one-on-one basketball game. Mr. Rogers and Tupac.
No, man.
What they do to a person can be devastating. Crack takes away choices, and sometimes it takes away people you care about. I've seen it, man. Friends of mine. You know, these little glass tubes look harmless, but
man.
Mr. President, you just led the Chicago Bears to their first Super Bowl title. What are the emotions right now?
Man, there's a great many emotions coursing through me. I think of every soul in this city that's waited so long to bring.
Mr. President, you just led
God, Epstein.
We need to talk. Open up.
Oh. Michael Jackson working at Walmart. I fucking can't.
How seriously?
Stephen Hawking in NASCAR.
No, no, no.
He got jammed in the wall.
Oh man. Yeah. Look, it begs the question though: how long before we see movies and television completely AI?
Yeah.
What do you think? Like, what do we? Man.
Bob Ross.
Is that Bob Ross? I was about to say, is that Bob Ross? Oh man.
I gotta find the. Martin Luther King losing his place. I just can't. Bum, 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 bum. .806 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Brian here with you. JP producing. We are starting off your. I'm sorry, I said hour 2. It's hour 3 coming your way right now, and we're starting off at 76 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Some of that fog should start to burn off pretty soon. Man, heavy fog to start off the morning. We've got a busy third hour for you. I got Janet Simmons slated from Breck in our next segment. Congressman Troy Carter is on the books as well. A little DC Current presented by LABI. We're going to talk about the shutdown. I don't want to talk about the shutdown, but we're going to have to talk about the shutdown. $1.5 trillion looking to be reinjected back into the budget versus the clean bill that was sent over. We'll talk with Congressman Carter about it. Probably a couple of other things as well. It can't be all shut down because number one, this didn't happen on the House side. So it's not on his watch. Number two, although he did vote no. Number two is what's going to be said today that hasn't been said already. So before we get to any of that, though, we've got this day in history. Let's go. All right, my guy Danny over at 5 Star Printing and Signs, 271-4096 is that phone number, bringing us this day in history. What you got, JP?
Well, starting off in 1492, Christopher Columbus misses Florida when he changes course.
He missed Florida?
Missed Florida, man.
How do you miss Florida?
Yeah, I'm telling you. Shoot.
All right.
1952, the first bandstand broadcast in Philadelphia.
No
Dick
kidding.
Clark, Dick Clark joins in 1955 as a substitute host.
Okay.
So, yeah, that. 1959, Far Side of the Moon is seen for the first time, courtesy of USSR's Luna 3 space probe.
Luna.
Keeping it, starting with music here. 1978, the film soundtrack to Grease started a 13-week run at number 1 on the UK charts.
I buy that.
Man.
For sure.
It's a solid soundtrack.
Yeah.
Speaking of music, let's see. 1995, Alanis Morissette went number 1 in the U.S. with her third album, Jagged Little Pill.
Okay.
Producing 6 successful singles, and it went on to become the biggest selling album ever by a female artist in sales.
Good stuff.
30 million records, man. That's wow.
Yeah.
2003, Arnold Schwarzenegger becomes governor of California.
Okay.
That happened today.
Yeah.
And Spotify today is launched today in 2008.
Really?
Yeah. Spotify. You listen to music through Spotify a lot?
So, no, this is where you're going to make fun of me. I know you only asked so you could make fun of me.
No, I didn't.
I listened to the free side of Pandora.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. I listen to the free side of Spotify.
I get the commercials anyway.
Same with
free
Spotify.
Side of Pandora. I like. You want to build out your own playlist? I like being surprised from time to time.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So basically, I'm on the same. It's the same, but I'm on Spotify side.
Right.
But yeah, no. Sometimes I like being surprised too. You find some good stuff that way.
I do find it odd though that I get commercials in Spanish. It's a terrible job of the algorithm.
Okay. I get that. Same. I get that too sometimes. I don't know what
I'm
it
on
is.
the 90s hip hop channel.
Yeah.
I'm over there at the Y, throwing some weights around and whatnot, trying to listen to my 90s hip hop. And the commercial comes on in Spanish. And I'm like, I have no idea right now.
I get that with TV, like different ads.
Really?
Yeah. And I don't know.
You'd think someone would rub off eventually.
Just a little bit.
You pick up some Spanish just by getting the commercials.
Muy poquito. That's it.
I had a friend who wanted to teach himself Spanish by using an ATM.
Okay.
He would just choose Spanish on the ATM.
Yeah.
And then
I get that.
It didn't really work that well for him.
I mean, mucho dolores.
If you call a helpline, choose Spanish and just test yourself.
That's it.
There's a million ways out there. You don't need Duolingo.
No.
You don't even need Dua Lipa.
No.
All right.
Moving on to birthdays?
How did we get here?
Brian, I ask myself that a lot.
Stupid.
Let's see. Musician here.
Did we have the United Nations, the foundations built today?
No.
This day in 1944?
No.
Yeah. Kind of the birth of the UN. All right. So go ahead.
Louis Capaldi here. Musician Louis Capaldi. Vladimir Putin today.
Okay.
I just didn't want to start with Putin, so
No, that's fine.
Simon Cowell as well today.
Okay.
Toni Braxton. Hadn't heard from her in a while.
Doesn't she have a reality show like the Braxton family?
Oh, she might.
Yeah.
Oh, she does. Yeah, Braxton Family Values.
Yeah.
Yeah, good call on that.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Tom York as well of Radiohead, lead singer of Radiohead, and John Mellencamp today as well.
Okay. You had Simon Cowell already?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yo-Yo Ma.
Yo-Yo Ma's in that mix? All right.
Anybody else on your end?
Just one from the sports world, if you don't mind.
No.
And that would be, sorry, I minimized it. Charles Woodson.
Okay.
Heisman Trophy winner Charles Woodson. Born on this day in 1976.
As far as notable deaths today, Edgar Allan Poe. That's I really have.
From baseball, Leo DeRocher died on this day in 1991. You had... Really? Yeah. Oh, Oliver Wendell Holmes died on this day in 1894.
Okay.
And no, everybody else with birthdays. So.
All right. As far as national days go, what do you think about International Day of Peaceful Communication Day?
What?
Are we good with that?
International Day of Peaceful Communication Day?
What about Frappe Day?
No.
Get a frap?
No. We can go with peaceful communication. It just sounds redundant.
I mean, yeah.
Well, it's not a day, it's a week, but it's Lawsuit Abuse Awareness Week.
That is true.
All week long, trying to bring a little light to what is lost in our state because of lawsuit abuse. Last year alone, lawsuit abuse led to nearly 40,000 jobs and $3 million in personal income lost for hardworking Louisianans. Want to know how that number came about? Visit LouisianaLawsuitAbuse.com. You know, the opposition to this has millions upon millions of dollars to spend on advertising. You know, we have a culture of jackpot justice here in Louisiana. And you know that lawsuit abuse does take its toll. LouisianaLawsuitAbuse.com if you want to learn more. All right, quick break. Breck is next. Oh, my word. How are you, Janet? Come on over. Doing well. I need coffee. Oh, I know. And Stasi's son was injured. I haven't seen who Okay. Okay. That's a lot.
There's a lot of information here. And then just everything that's been going on this weekend and what's coming up in October. We got a lot.
Okay. Yeah. 816 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Time to get caught up with Breck as we try to do quite often because she is moving quickly. Janet Simmons in with us. How are you?
Great. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are y'all doing?
Glad to have you on. It seems like you come back with a full arsenal of topics to talk about. There's a lot of paperwork in front of me this morning because we've got a lot to cover. Can we start off, though, with just basically the events calendar?
Absolutely.
This is about the time of year where we see a lot coming from Breck. Like Brew at the Zoo was last week.
Right. That was on the 26th.
Okay, so week before.
Mm-hmm.
And then Boo at the Zoo coming up.
And we had, so last weekend on Saturday, we had the Asian Mid-Autumn Festival. We had over 2,000 people there.
Oh, wow.
It was unbelievable. Our team, Dodie is our volunteer coordinator. She did a great job. She really is the person that drives that festival, and she did a wonderful job. We also had Hallow Wheel at Highland Park, and that's where you had people in wheelchairs playing tennis and pickleball.
Oh, wow.
We had over 500 people there.
Really?
Yeah, it was a great event. Everything worked out well, and I was happy to see the results of that. So coming up, we've got Forest Community Park has the Halloween, which is the dog contest.
Okay,
That's a lot of fun. I think that's going to be great fun for people that have dogs. You got the Bluebonnet Swamp haunted hikes that are going all throughout October. Highland Road Park Observatory, of course, they have the evening sky viewing every Friday night, and then they also have some lecture series as well. You have Go Fish, a catfish rodeo that is at I believe that might be at North Sherwood. I'm not positive, but I think that's where that is. And then at Drusilla Lane Park, just a small park, we have the Ghosty Fest, and that's for kids that don't want to get too scared about anything. It's just something that they can do.
Very nice.
That's for kids, family friendly. And then Magnolia Mound, the entire month of October, are doing the morning costumes. And when I say morning, I don't mean morning as in good morning. I mean morning as in death.
With a U.
And it's an interesting thing because what they're doing is talking about 19th century Louisiana and the Creole form of celebrating death or mourning death and funerals. And so they're decked out in these costumes that represent 19th century Louisiana. It's crazy.
And when was this one?
This is ongoing throughout the whole month of October.
Okay.
And then you have Boo at the Zoo next Saturday, Sunday, and the following Saturday, Sunday. Of course, Sunshine Interactive dances are ongoing, and the tea dances at the headquarters and in Jackson Community Park. Those are just a few of the many things that we do.
Very cool stuff. The one about the morning, though, that is a very Louisiana thing.
It is.
I mean, because after Halloween, you'll have All Saints Day and then All Souls Day.
Right.
So that's kind of
well,
part
and
of
we
who
also
are.
had at Magnolia Mound last weekend. We had the pumpkin patch, so that was the giving out of sugarcane and pumpkins and all kinds of different things that the major what are they called? The master gardeners provide for people that are coming through the park. So yeah,
very
it's pretty
cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool stuff. We got Janet Simmons in with us from Breck. We've got so much to get to this morning. I desperately want to get to the properties, but let's talk a little bit about like what's being fixed and when and.
So back to the rapid response ticketing system.
Oh, yeah.
So we implemented that starting on September the 8th. It's been going great. We've had over 500 inquiries. If you have a problem with a park and you want to get it taken care of quickly, just go on breck.org and click on the rapid response ticketing system. You can also download the app, and it will tell us where exactly you are and the exact location. So like if you have a problem with, let's say, a crack in the sidewalk or a fence that's broken, you can find that exactly where you are because the app will find your location.
Okay.
And then we are going to tag that. And so if you go and you see a tag on a fence, for example, it's going to have a ticket number on there knowing that it's already been implemented. And then you can put that ticket number in the app and you can check and see where we are in the resolution stage.
Okay, and how are the responses overwhelming?
Oh, my God.
Already? Yeah.
Yeah.
How are we going about triaging them?
Great. So we have a whole call team and whole call center that sends it out to the appropriate department, and then immediately you'll get a receipt back on your email or on your phone saying we received your inquiry, we are on it.
Okay.
And then we'll let you know whether or not it's an ABC project or not. So if A is immediate, B is soon, and C is maybe in a little while.
So that's the part I was asking about. What qualifies it as an A, B, or a C?
I think the safety issue is number one, whether it's a safety issue or not. Like if you have electrical wire in water, that's going to be that's an A,
Right. Yeah.
If you have a fence that's causing people to break into the park and do illicit things, then that's going to be an A, A B is going to be more like, well, we've got these tree limbs down and we really need them to be cleaned up, but they're not really blocking any way.
Right.
That's a B.
Okay.
A C is something that we just can't get to right now.
Okay. Talk with Janet Simmons from Breck about what they've got going on. Let's talk a little bit about the game plan you've got over here.
Okay, so so that's just basically the way that we are planning everything. And so one of the things that we're doing is we're working on how to manage everybody talking to each other. And so one of the things that we've done is pretty cool. We've developed these war rooms, and every morning we have a war room at 8:00.
Okay.
Park Ops and Parks and Rec and P&E all can come in the same room, and they can work on the projects that are critical, immediate. So,
Okay.
What's come on my agenda? These are the things that we need to talk about. And right now we have 3 war rooms where we will have as many as 5. And when I say war rooms, that's where we take complex issues and we break them down and we find solutions to them quickly with all the team.
Mhm.
So it's a really cool method of operating on a structure that causes expediting projects.
So, and these wouldn't be like the problem solving things that you have through the rapid response. These are the bigger ticket, bigger idea things.
Correct.
Do you have any examples offhand?
Yeah. So pickleball, for example.
Okay.
Pickleball is a huge sport right now, and the demand is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And so bringing in that to the war room and saying, okay, where can we erect a pickleball indoor court facility within the next 6 months? And what do we need to do? What do we need to find out to do that? What are the processes? What are the plans to get that done? And so then we dispatch whoever needs to be dispatched at that point, do a little quick study.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to cost $32 million to erect this building.
Wow.
Where are we going to get that money? Those kinds of things.
We got Janet Simmons with us from Breck. The pickleball is a huge one. In fact, last time you were on, you were telling me about the plans for a new pickleball facility. Can you elaborate on, for those that missed it, what that one's going to be?
Well, so we were looking at Independence Park, and then we're working with Stax, and we're actually getting ready to go into an agreement with Stax. Stax happens to be the local pickleball courts over off of right behind Costco. It's off of the interstate. They are actually going to be managing any of our pickleball facilities that we have, besides like Greenwood, which we have right now. We have facilities. But we're looking at putting pickleball courts at behind Olympia, so in Perkins Community Park. We're looking at that. We're looking at Highland, near where the rugby fields are.
Okay, so wait, right. I was out there last Saturday, right? Okay, or maybe the Saturday before. I don't remember. But either way, there's a football field and a rugby field out there by Highland, right?
There are two rugby fields.
There are two rugby fields
in the back, and then there's. So the cross country uses that also, and then we've got our disc golf out there as well. And the disc golf, Jamie Thomas, who is our Baton Rouge disc golf chair of the group, he's taken over Highland Park for a disc golf course.
Okay,
and so that they're going to be managing that for.
So the disc golf course doesn't conflict with the rugby fields.
Nope,
it's not near there.
Mm-mm.
But the high school cross country track, not the junior high, the high school cross country track does wrap around one of them.
It wraps around a lot of the park. Mm-hmm.
So when putting in something new, how do you take something like that into consideration? Do we just reroute the cross country, or?
Well, no, this isn't going to affect cross country. Pickleball, the pickleball's not.
Okay, what will it affect?
One of the rugby fields.
One of the the one closest to
we don't know yet.
Okay.
We're still in the design phase,
yeah.
So still trying to figure it all out.
There's so much. So much great space available.
Yep.
Out at Highland Road Park. It was last Wednesday. That's when I was out there. It was last Wednesday for cross country practice. We got Janet Simmons in with us from Breck, giving us updates on a lot of what's going on. Now, so the war room is basically where you would take all the information from Imagine Your Parks.
Correct.
And turn dreams into reality, or turn dreams into plans.
Right.
Where are we at with Imagine Your Parks 3?
So I reported last time that we had accomplished over 10% of the 3-year plan, but we've already started on over 60% of it. So we're plugging along, getting those accomplished. There's a lot of different IYP3 projects, so they're not just parks. For example, some of it may be having heat reduction. Some of it is a part of our HR plan. There's other parts of the Breck entirety in the IYP3 system. So it's not just a building, for example, or it's not just a program.
Right.
It's the whole system, making sure that we're aligning all in the entire system into the plan that the taxpayers voted on.
Well, yeah. And the decision making along the way with what to implement when. I mean, you said you're now already knocked out 10%. Is that a matter of like, there's some sort of equation that says we could pay for this now, or we've got the manpower now? I mean,
some of it was just very simple, like changing our mission statement. Didn't cost us a thing. We just had to vote on it and change our mission statement, and then now we got to put it on all the signs.
Well, yeah.
But that's something as simple as that, or identifying where we've put water access for people in parks. And have we been able to provide water fountains and water places where people can fill their water bottles.
Yeah.
Those kinds of things. Or dog parks where the dogs can get water. So simple things like that. They're not all real complicated.
You know, I now that I'm thinking about that, I don't know that Independence Park, unless you physically go into the library, I don't know that Independence Park has water.
I don't know about that either, and
Yeah.
I'll check into that.
Yeah,
And I'll
that's
see.
interesting. It's the little things that we never think of, for sure. I mean,
Yep.
there are bigger ticket items that I know a lot of people are looking at, but it's when you start to manage them all individually, other stuff comes up.
Yeah.
We got about 2 minutes left with Janet Simmons, maybe slightly less than 2 minutes left. I do want to touch on one of the topics that we brought up last time, and we'll come back around probably until y'all streamlined the number of properties that y'all physically have. You talked about obsolete land last time, and you've brought me a full-on report,
Right.
For what is obsolete and what that looks like.
Right. So we've identified 30 properties that we consider obsolete, meaning that we'll either offload them somehow through a sale or an agreement with somebody that wants to purchase it, or maybe wants to just take over the management of the property and take over all the maintenance, whatnot. Private public partnerships. There's all kinds of different ways that we can do that. But we've already, half of the list has already been approved by the commission to go forward on it.
Okay.
The other half, we have to present it to the commission, which we're going to be doing that on Thursday night, and have them go through it and say, okay, we agree with this. We agree with this. No, we don't agree with this. You know, I have somebody that wants to do this with this park. And so we just present it to the commissioners, and they determine whether or not how accurate. But the thing that is great is that we do have a list,
Right.
whereas up until last week, we didn't have it identified. I mean, we kind of knew what we were going to be doing, but we wanted to get it down on paper. And then we also have all of the parks that we're going to repurpose rec centers in, and we've identified those. We have 2 parks that we have to have AC in by the end of this year, so we're working on that. Rec centers I'm talking about.
Right.
So, and these projects are the next 3 years and then the next 10 years. So it's pretty big process in the making.
Okay, so you've made the mistake of bringing me all these reports, and so now I'm going to nerd out and read them.
Okay.
Okay, so next time you're on, I want to walk through a few of the properties.
Okay, sure.
Just as an exercise to walk through so that we can understand what it looks like in real time.
Yeah.
To see y'all trim down some of the waste.
Yep.
Because I think as a voter, as you know, someone looking for responsibility of being a good steward with our dollars.
Right.
This right here is a step towards that.
Absolutely.
So Janet Simmons from Breck, we always appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Already looking forward to the next one. Here's news. Sorry, that one snuck up on me. I wasn't looking at you. I had my face in this. Okay, I gotta get no Facebook on this, please. Kill Mike's. so awesome. Are we back? Nope. Quick addendum. Been telling you about Louisiana or Lawsuit Abuse Awareness Week and been giving out the wrong website, y'all. My apologies. Ron Burgundy this one. I read what was in the copy. It's Wait, is it llaw.org.com? Hang on. Let me not screw it up twice. Llaw.org. LLAW.org. All week long, we'll be talking about wasted dollars, wasted jobs. Money just flushed down the toilet due to frivolous lawsuits and lawsuit abuse. 40,000 jobs last year alone. $3 million last year alone due to lawsuit abuse. If you want to learn more, if you want to help put a stop to it, LLAW.org. Waiting on Congressman Carter to hop on board as the government is shut down. Oh, I wonder if the person who taps him on the shoulder and says call now is furloughed. That'd be something, huh? Let me text. While we have a minute, JP, I believe Rouse's has got something going on.
As a matter of fact, they do. Rouse's wants to help you cover the spread this football season. We're talking the ultimate tailgate spread. Party trays, dips, fried chicken, anything you want to throw on the grill, plus plenty of ice cold drinks to wash it all down. All you have to do is register now at talk1073.com for your chance to win. One winner will be chosen each week, and everyone who registers will be entered into a drawing for a grand prize of postseason tickets. Rouse's Markets, your tailgating headquarters.
While we have a quick second waiting on the Congressman for D.C. Current, presented by the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry, let me remind you about the folks over at neurojust.com as well. If you or someone you know is battling with anxiety and depression, and they are treatment resistant, what does treatment resistant mean? Well, the sit-down, talk-it-out therapy isn't really taken the way it should, which happens from time to time. Not one method of therapy is right for all. There's no one-size-fits-all when it comes to therapy because we're all unique. We are all individuals. We're all built differently. So if the sit-down, talk-it-out therapy isn't working, if you find you are averse to prescription drugs, either you have diminishing returns, side effects, or just straight up don't want to put pills in your body, give TMS a try. Transcranial magnetic stimulation. This is what they do over at NeuroJust off of Bluebonnet. Is they put the little helmet on you, and it's magnetic pulses. Feels like a TINS machine. It's magnetic pulses that help regulate mood. It's magnetic pulses directed at the portion of your brain that helps regulate mood. If you suffer from anxiety and depression, you already know your life is a constant fight or flight mode, and it's exhausting. It's so exhausting. In fact, it's the exhaustion that leads to defeatism that leads to depression. You can calm those seas between your ears with TMS, and they've got receipts, y'all. 80% showing up as that. Let me give you the exact number. I don't want to screw up statistics. 80% response rate, 70% remission rate. So if you prove to be treatment resistant when it comes to battling depression, give the folks at neurojust.com a quick look. NEUROJUST, neurojust.com. All right. He should be calling any minute, I'm told. So we'll hold out hope that he's going to hop on here. In the meanwhile, a couple of other news items, news and notes, if you will. It's Fire Prevention Week all this week. Don't know if y'all knew that or not. Baton Rouge Fire Department is observing Fire Prevention Week. It started back on Sunday. It'll run through Saturday, October 11th, joining departments nationwide in promoting fire safety awareness. This year's campaign highlights the growing risks associated with lithium-ion batteries, which are commonly used in cell phones, laptops, e-bikes, scooters, and power tools. The Baton Rouge Fire Department is reminding residents of a number of safety guidelines along the way. For example, buy only listed products. When buying a product that uses a lithium-ion battery, look for a safety certification mark such as UL, ETL, or CSA. This means the product meets important safety standards. The second reminder for Fire Safety Week from the Baton Rouge Fire Department is charge devices safely, always use the cords provided with the product, and follow manufacturer's instructions. Buy chargers directly from the manufacturer or an approved source. Is a gas station an approved source? I mean, like there's some times where you're out on the road, right? And you're like, oh, I need it. Where's my charger? And then you just pull in and it's like, they're going to have one at a gas station. Is a gas station an approved source? Anyway, buy chargers directly from the manufacturer or an approved source. Charge devices on hard, flat surfaces. Avoid overcharging and unplug or remove once the battery is fully charged. Also, the Baton Rouge Fire Department reminding us to recycle batteries responsibly. Do not throw lithium-ion batteries in the trash or regular recycling bins because they might start a fire. Recycle your device or battery at a safe battery recycling location. They've got a website set up if you want to check that out. Call2recycle.org. Call the number 2 recycle.org, as it is Fire Safety Week all week long. All right, it is time for DC Current, presented by LABI. And we welcome back to the show Congressman Troy Carter, who's on with us now. Congressman Carter, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well as to be expected under the circumstances, I should say. How are you, sir?
I am doing very well as well. So we're what, just about a full week into the shutdown right now?
Day 7. Day 7.
So
we're just into the day 7.
We did mark 1 week. Does it look like there's any talk that's making its way back and forth?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
I'm hopeful, but, we still have not had any, we're still not called back officially in session. Nothing can change until we are in a legislative setting. The Senate continues to go back and forth. The real challenge here is we aren't talking.
Right.
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And, the Senate can keep calling a vote and the numbers stay the same unless something changes. And something changes we have to communicate. We have to talk. We have to work through whatever the differences are. Listen, you can't negotiate with only one side at the table. And you can't say my way or the highway. Just doesn't work that way. That's not how government works. It's not how your relationships work. It's not how your business works. To work through a difference, you have to talk. You have to communicate. You have to negotiate. And the message that I continue to send is we may be at loggerheads, but we will never get over them if we are not at the same table.
Right. If doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result is insanity, what do you call it when you're doing nothing over and over again and expecting a different result?
Irresponsible.
Yeah.
Irresponsible.
And Congressman, and please take this in the spirit that it's given. There's a jam up on the Senate side, and they're supposed to be like the most august body in the land. They're supposed to be at the end of the day the grown-ups in the room. Are you surprised that the jam up is over there and not on the House side?
No, because both are deliberative bodies and both have very strong opinions and feelings on how things should go. Listen, there are 435 members of Congress that all are very strong in their thinking. You got 100 members of the Senate who are all very strong in their thinking. But at some point, however strong you think you are in your position, you have to be willing to throw your cards back into the deck to reshuffle for what's best for the American people, and always hold out the possibility that maybe you're wrong. However strong you feel about it, maybe you're just damn wrong. And you got to come back to the table, and you got to be willing to listen to all sides. And this kicking our heels into the ground and refusing to talk is irresponsible, reckless, and it's childish. We need to discuss and to negotiate and talk about what needs to be done in order to advance the issues for the American people, to literally turn the lights back on, to provide the resources so government can continue. Listen, last time there was a government shutdown, it lasted lasted 34 days, and it cost the taxpayers $11 billion.
Mm-hmm.
That makes no sense. No shutdown in American history has ever been productive. Why do we think that this one is going to be different?
It's a good question. It is, because there are so many different pieces of, like, our government is so, like, all inclusive. One item that I saw Senator Cassidy mention the other day, and I saw you mention the other day, it's the little things falling to the wayside that really aren't little things. NFIP right now is what is it? Suspended or just?
It has expired.
Expired.
And
sorry.
let me tell you, Mike Ezell and I, my dear friend, a Republican from Mississippi, and I co-sponsored an extension because we knew this day would come. We knew that we would unfortunately get to this point. We wanted to avoid having the National Flood Insurance Program caught up in the mix. So what did we do? In April, we sponsored an extension. In April, we had time to have this out of the way, so this would be off the table. We wouldn't have the people further caught up. It was never called to a vote. We tried again. It was never called to a vote. So, and listen, and I underscore, italicize, bold. This was a bipartisan effort. Mike Ezell, my good friend in Mississippi, and I mean that when I say my good friend, not just because it's what we say in the House. He's my good friend. He's a Republican. We both realized that this was something that was important to our states, and we demonstrated that Republicans and Democrats can work together. We sponsored legislation that would extend so we wouldn't have people being hurt with their flood insurance being expired. Let me tell you what that means. A person trying to buy a house, they can't buy it now because they can't buy flood insurance. A person who's up for a renewal, they can't get renewed because there's no system to renew it. The advantage, the only thing you have is if you have flood insurance, you still have flood insurance.
Right.
But if you need to renew, you're out of luck. If you're trying to buy a home, you're out of luck.
The one qualifier
slow down
there,
the economy because home sales will drop.
Right.
Man, there's a lot of moving parts that's just silly.
The one qualifier on the buying a home, Congressman, is if you could buy it for cash. If you're taking out a mortgage, you have to have the flood insurance. Within a flood zone.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah. No, I know where you're going.
Everybody's not like you, man.
No.
Listen, everybody's not like you, brother.
No. Look, I'm looking over that fence, wondering when I can get to that golden land too, man. If you want to buy a home with a mortgage, yeah, I'm not in that special little privilege pool.
And I'm teasing out.
I know.
But no lender is going to put their money out to allow you to buy a house that they hold the mortgage for and have it uninsured. Listen, we're still in hurricane season, man.
Oh yeah. There's about to be a name storm out there.
We hope and pray that we get through and everything is okay. But Mother Nature is very unpredictable. And we don't know when a storm might come. And even when hurricane season is over, we never know when we might have a tidal surge. We never know we might have some malfunction with the sewer system and you end up with a flood. Rising water comes from a lot of different things.
Well, the flood of 2016 was not the result of a hurricane. Neither was the flood of 2021 here in Baton Rouge. So
neither was the flood of May 3rd that still most people remember.
Yeah.
You know, in New Orleans. So those were not hurricane offenses, but they flooded people out.
No, absolutely, and they've affected maps along the way. And yeah, more people are in a floodplain and need flood insurance, and we need the NFIP. And that's just one example of it out of a couple of thousand.
Well, here's the other example.
Go for it.
You know, when you want to go to visit grandma, you want to go take a vacation, you want to go to work, you want to jump on an airplane. Those air traffic controllers, they got to go to work still, but they aren't going to get paid. That TSA that securely gets you through the lines, they're going to still go to work, but they're not going to get paid. Man, no one can afford, well, maybe the guy that can buy his house cash, but most people, super majority of us, can't afford to miss a paycheck.
No, I'm
right?
with you.
Because, I mean, so and add insult to injury, I'm still going to work, but I'm not getting paid. And here's the other ugly twist to it. Russ Vought, who is the head of OMB, wants to not only furlough like they've done in the past, but lay off thousands of employees And so you add insult to injury. Now I'm laid off, so I'm not going to get back pay. I'm just laid off. And here's the further twist. Oh, by the way, not even sure if we're going to bring you back.
Right.
I
At
mean,
which point they're done.
At which point they're done.
Right.
Listen, man, we often talk about these effects, and I enjoy our conversations, the robust ones and the ones that we challenge each other's thinking, and that's why I love coming on this show. And here's another example of the shutdown and the failure to discuss the ACA tax credits. Dude, this is going to hurt Republicans and Democrats. This is not just a Democrat issue. Working people who make too much money to be able to get Medicaid, but make too little money to be able to pay for their insurance. So the ACA marketplace provides the gap for a person that's working every day, but make too much money to get Medicaid, not enough money to be able to pay for the insurance, and so the tax credits meet them in the middle. I just was on the radio did a Instagram Live with a young lady who happens to be a lawyer recently from Baton Rouge, who she's a lawyer. Her husband works every day. They were born with the child was born with challenges that cost them a tremendous amount of money. They had to file bankruptcy. They had to file bankruptcy because they're having to pay so much for the insurance. And you know what she told me? She told me, now here's the real problem. When these tax credits go away, they don't have a clue what they're going to do. These are not people that are sitting around, as some would suggest, being lazy or this, that, and all the other horrible things that we hear about people in need. These are people that go to work every day.
Right. And they end up being, and I hate the term, but they end up being collateral damage.
And they end up being collateral damage. We talked to a college professor who has a terminal illness. His wife is likewise ill. He goes to work every single day. But without these tax credits, man, he's not going to be able to what happens then? And this is repeated. And I go around the state and I talk to people throughout. This is Republicans and Democrats. And this is what I try to tell people. This collateral damage, it doesn't recognize party. It doesn't recognize zip code. That's why we've got to get back to the table, man. That's why we've got to negotiate in earnest. That's why we have to fight for the American people, not the Democrat people, not the Republican people, the people.
He is Congressman Troy Carter. We do DC Current, presented by LABI about this time every week. Congressman, hopefully the next time we talk, y'all will be back at work.
That's my hope too, my brother. God bless you and have a fantastic week.
You do the same. Trying to say I could buy a house for cash. Where's he at? Oh, look at the time. We got a break. We'll break it, come back and close it out. Not to quote The Sopranos like I always do, but were you hearing a little dysentery in the ranks right there? It's dissension among the ranks is the actual phrase. But the in The Sopranos, it's dysentery in the ranks. Does he sound like he's... That really, really sounded... 13, 14, and 15. 858 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. I ran super long with Congressman Carter right there. I got to remember when we start late that we still have to finish on time. There's one more story I want to get to before we get out of here, but do need to remind you that Supply Chain Baton Rouge 2025 is coming up, I should say, at the end of this month. Baton Rouge keeps America moving. This fall, Supply Chain Baton Rouge celebrates 5 years strong as the region's premier gathering for logistics, manufacturing, and supply chain innovation. It is a one-day conference connecting growth-minded business leaders with tools, partners, and insights that strengthen Louisiana's role in global logistics. It's coming up October 28th, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Crown Plaza. Tickets, search Supply Chain Baton Rouge on Eventbrite. That's simple. Supply Chain Baton Rouge on Eventbrite. All right. Saw this story, and you heard it from our news partners at Louisiana Radio Network. Department of Wildlife and Fisheries says they've received 1,300 applications for the 2025 Black Bear Hunting Lottery. Black bear biologist John Hanks says the 24 hunt drew 973 applications, says interest was higher this year because more of the state is open to bear hunting during the 2-week-long season in December.
Last year was in just the Tensas area. This year is in the Tensas area and the Point Capee area, also known as the Upper Atchafalaya area, and that coastal area that is the Lower Atchafalaya area. So we have 3 bear areas open this year.
So from those 1,300 applications, 26 permits were issued for the season, and it runs from December 6th through the 21st. Hank says last year only 11 permits were issued.
Very successful last year, and we'll have a whole new group of hunters this year and different weather conditions and things that are out of our control. So we will see. Those 26 people will have an opportunity. They'll have a chance to bear hunt for 2 weeks in Louisiana.
Going on a bear hunt. How about it? All right, that's going to do it for us today. Moon Griffon's next. Oh, sorry. Hey, Facebook, y'all let me know. And it's, did Congressman Carter sound like he was starting to get a little bit frustrated with his own party? And I'm not going to go too far down the rabbit hole here, but I do want to walk the path, okay? There are a huge number of his constituents that rely upon Medicare and Medicaid and rely on a number of government benefits across the board that just aren't getting paid out right now because the government shut down. Do you think those constituents give a damn about like fighting some other fight or about their own benefits that they're waiting on? And if they're not getting the benefits that they're waiting on, where do you think they're pointing the blame at? Do you think they're pointing the blame like at someone they can't vote for or someone they can vote for? The way this path is walking, it sounds very much like there's starting to be a little bit of dissension going on. A little bit of, hey, we appreciate that everybody wants to spend an extra $1.5 trillion for, a billion here, a billion there. But at the end of the day, we need to start coming back to the Republicans with a better number, a number that serves American citizens and not illegals, a number that doesn't pay for, funding for. John Kennedy ran the list. He ran the list like it was like 8 million for this, 20 million for this, 200 million for this. He ran an entire list, and it was all just complete nonsense. And like giving in on that, starting to negotiate on that. Like if you go to the Republic, if you're the head Democrat and you go to the Republicans with $1.5 trillion and they say no way, and you come back to them with $1.5 trillion and they say no way, and you come back to them with $1.5 trillion, what do you think they're going to say the third time? Now, if instead of $1.5 trillion, you come back to them with $750 billion, you might have a different ball game. And I'm not speaking on behalf of Congressman Carter. I don't know, like, but he didn't say Republicans aren't talking. He said no one is talking. And oh, by the way, and this is why I brought up it being on the Senate side, if you're Congressman Carter, your frustration has to increase tenfold because you got no dog in the hunt. That's happening on the other side of the Capitol. He's got to sit there and watch. And that's got to suck. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm hearing him differently. Y'all already know I like the guy. I don't agree with him very often, but I do like him. So I'm going to look for what's pure in his heart as opposed to what's negative. So anyway, just my 2 cents. We'll see y'all tomorrow.